to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we come to you this evening, Lord, giving you the honor and praise that we can, and it's never enough. Father, we thank you for who you are. We pray you be with this meeting tonight, that is conducted in a way that brings you honor and glory. We ask you to be with our city, protect all our citizens, Lord. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Next item on the agenda is something a little bit out of the ordinary. We didn't get to do this at all until the last few months, but since the early or late last year, this will be the fourth time. We've got an officer that's been with the city now for 10 years, and Keith, if you would come on up.
Thank you, sir.
Listen, thank you for your service, and we really appreciate the staying with our city and working with us.
That's real nice. I appreciate it, Mayor, and it's probably the nicest design.
Inside joke behind that. Next item is the approval of the July 28th, 2026 City Council minutes, agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by Erica. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Do all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. That did pass. Next item on the agenda is the June 23rd, 2026 minutes. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Make a motion
To approve. Do I hear a second?
to. Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Do I hear any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And that's approved. Next item on the agenda is the city financials. And the city financials, we have Jake and Cheryl here from Landmark to go over those with us.
Good evening, Jake Krumsdorf from Landmark CPAs. We've made some good progress in the last month. We haven't gotten quite to the finish line, but we are pretty close. We wanted to give you some financials to look at. This is obviously not the presentation we typically get. As we went through some of the cleanup, we had some inter-fund adjustments that need to be made. We felt confident with the overall financials on a consolidated basis. I'll walk through what you've got in front of you, just kind of point out some of the items that we're still working through, and some of the revenues and expenditures, kind of where some of those items sit, some anomalies and things like that. So just a few things. I'm going to start with the balance sheet. It was actually a good exercise for us to run these financials consolidated on the city side. We actually, if you were looking at the balance sheet on the first page in the cash section, there are a handful of accounts that still remain on the city side for water and sewer. Those should not be there. When we ran it consolidated, those pulled in those funds. So that is an adjustment to the prior period. We need to clear off the balance sheet. So that's just one more of the cleanup items based on basically what we did in the last month. Obviously, the day-to-day, that's running smoothly. We have somebody here 2-3 times a week, making sure checks are going out. And the day-to-day operations are moving now. Now it's the cleanup of these financials in the position we want going forward, so that we can present them to you on a fund basis each month. So this is our this is our first pass at it, we still have some more cleanup. I don't anticipate, the last few items taking more than a month. I think next month we'll have everything ready to in the way that your customers is seeing it. So, going back to the balance sheet, I mentioned those items that need to be cleared off of these financials. They are sitting in a fund, again, that was closed, moved over, separated sewer and water from the city, but they're still sitting on the city's books. Typically, the financials have been run by fund, and so those were not city, hidden, so to speak. And so running it in total allows you to see that those are still sitting there. There should have been an adjusting entry when that was moved off to their own set of financials that would figure that out, and that's what we'll do with that. So it's more of an accounting administrative adjustment on that side. But it was good to see that that was there. The next thing that you'll see on the balance sheet, if you move down to the payroll liability section, that is where the primary amount of work that we've done for cleanup has happened. You don't have the previous balance sheet to compare to, but I did take a few notes. Some of the items that we had, the EFTPS payroll account, which you see is just under $74,000. It was a negative $300,000 prior to our corrections and adjustments. There was a health insurance account that was no longer included in payroll liabilities. It was over $350,000. A couple of other accounts in Department of Finance and Administration payable was actually a negative number before. So we've gotten all of these liabilities to where they're true liabilities. So those are amounts that need to be paid and will be paid in the course of business. The EFTPS payable is $73,000, as I mentioned. That contains a refund that the IRS sent back to the city that it should not have. I'll speak on the payroll liabilities and IRS issues in just a minute. I've got a summary of that. There's some good news on that. It's not all done, but there are some good items to come on there. That's the main thing I wanted to point out on payroll liabilities. Just a lot of adjustments, but the numbers that are there that you're seeing, those are good numbers. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the statement of revenues and expenditures. One thing, I felt very good about these numbers up until we uncovered the additional funds, water and sewer, and we were digging into it actually even today and looking at those accounts that we expected to have no activity. There is some activity occurring there that should not be occurring there. So there is a little bit of cleanup, primarily with payroll. It's the way the payroll system was set up originally. It just continued to do what it's supposed to do back then. Now it needs to be fixed to be adjusted. So it's basically coding water and sewer, some payroll expenses to the statement of revenues and expenditures in the sewer fund under the city, which should not exist. Right? So it hasn't been seen before because these financials are run by fund. Those funds have been left out previously. So again, that's one item that we need to clean up. I don't know that you need to worry too much about the accounting details of that, but that is something that came to our attention that we're going to correct and get going forward the right way. One area that I wanted to point out where there is a quite big difference between the budget and what is actually received on local sales and use tax. This is an item that we're going to take back and do a little bit more digging on to make sure that the accounting treatment is appropriate. One of the bonds, the city has a large bond for 2020, has historically not been reported as sales and use tax income and debt service expense, which essentially net each other out. And that was a guidance that the mayor had previously given. We are uncertain that that's the correct position, so we're going to do some additional research to make sure. So we have added in the debt service and the expense area. You'll see that. It's just over, I think it's about $860,000. And you'll see the local sales and use tax and revenue line. There's lots of lines there. It's about a little more than halfway down the revenue section on that page. You'll see the revenue is higher there than anticipated because that was not budgeted for. Mostly those are just flow through with net out the income and expense. But that's one thing we're going to determine going forward. If it is where we do need to leave this on, which we believe we will separate that out as a different revenue line item So it's easily identified as part of that line. Moving to expenses, a couple of cleanup items really that we see, matching up of a budget item. I see there's the RDOT TAC Sands Wallace construction budget. It's not lining up with the 2024 Sands Wallace project. The expenses are, that's just a line item issue that will be corrected. On page 2 of the statement of revenues and expenditures, debt service, interest and principal is what I just spoke about. That was unbudgeted. It's a wash, essentially a wash from the revenues. And then the salaries and wages appear to be a little bit higher than budget, but I believe that's related to the item I just spoke of on the sewer payroll that is going into that fund. And again, that's a matter of reporting all funds in the city, county system. So, any questions that I can answer on those financial statements? Right now.
So then were our water and sewer supposedly at off since those weren't supposed to be, those were supposed to be the water and sewer on the balance sheet? And you were talking about those accounts that you know.
So the activity that occurs on the city side does not necessarily affect the water sewer side. So I have not seen that side to give you a certain answer, but my belief is that it should not have affected the water sewer side.
But these funds you're saying shouldn't either, should go over to the water and sewer.
And they, those happened, yes, those happened.
Those
That
happened.
happened in 2022. That happened a long time ago.
I guess I'm confused then when you're talking about the cash, then these bottom ones of wastewater and water, you said they shouldn't be reported on the balance sheet, was it already moved over?
So functionally, they've been moved over from an accounting purpose, they have not.
Okay.
So they need to be, basically the fund balance on the next page is gonna go down based on the amount of those cash accounts that are on the balance sheet. So it's gonna go down a significant amount. But it has not, that hasn't been, to my understanding, that has not been used historically for any of the financial reporting, nothing. Because it hasn't been presented that way.
Okay, thank you.
So, water and sewer, I couldn't hear everything she was saying. Water and sewer. We get financials from them and we've been paying them and lately are not voting on it. It's just,
It's hard to hear from this side to that side.
is this going to adjusting?
That should not adjust those. So look at it this way, in 2022, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what the numbers tell me. In 2022, it appears that the activity for water and sewer were occurring within the city's center point accounting infrastructure. And it was decided to separate water and sewer out to its own entity within the center point. So water and sewer is managed over here with securities and everything else. It was essentially carved out of the city's financials. Only the accounting side on the city didn't occur. So the accounting side on water and sewer happened, they picked up and took off and ran and kept everything up. But it didn't get closed out on the city side. But it was never reported because the filters for the reporting, they just turned that off. So it was never seen. That help explain a little bit?
Yes.
Any other questions on the financials? Okay, I'll quickly jump into payroll update on payroll taxes. The good news, sort of, is that the IRS doesn't indicate that the city owes any money for federal 941 and withholding taxes at the moment. The negative side of that is that the 4 living tax returns that we have provided to the IRS have still not been processed, which is why they're sending refunds when they're trying to pay the amounts that they're due. So currently, I show Q3 of 24, Q4 of 24, Q2 of 21, and Q2 of 2020 as still outstanding living returns that have been sent to the IRS. They just have not processed it. The IRS takes a long time to process it. It's been about 9 months since they've been sent. That's about the time frame I have been seeing the IRS get these processed. So hopefully, any day we'll get a response from them. But they have gone in, so they had quite a bit of confusion, misapplication of payroll tax payments primarily in Q1, Q2, Q3, 2025. That is all clean. So some quarters showed a huge amount owed, other quarters showed a huge refund due back. They moved all that, applied it appropriately, and they showed zero. So we've gotten the long list of all the quarters that we researched down to a handful of quarters that we're waiting for the processing of returns. And the amount of payments that we've made and the amount that we're showing due to the IRS are very, very close. So I don't expect there's going to be a large amount that we need to pay to the IRS to true everything up. We will have to pay the one that they refunded, that will need to be paid back to the IRS because they refunded it, they didn't keep it. But I think everything else is going to be very, very close. So hopefully there's no more big payments now to the IRS.
Are we keeping the refund checks?
We are now. One of them is, us, so that's what I was referring to.
Okay.
In order not to get interest and penalties on that,
We should send it back.
that's, okay.
So when this is all settled, you give us a total over what the interest and penalties are that we actually pay.
I can give you the total that I've got right now, and the IRS has just about everything processed. Right now, it's $127,142.72.
127.
127, 142, 172. That is updated as of yesterday.
That's what we still owe them, but they haven't processed yet.
No, that is total interest and penalties that we've paid. That covers Q1 of 2018 through Q4 of 2025. And another slight potential, hopefully positive on that side, we have submitted Form 843 to the IRS, which is a request for payment of penalties and interest. So those have been presented for all of those quarters, Q3 and Q4 of 25. We have some new penalties and interest that we found yesterday that were just recently updated. So we probably need to issue a couple more of those, but everything else has been submitted. So 118,000 worth.
Oh, I'm so sorry, we didn't have to. How much is the check that we cashed and that we should turn around and send back?
Do you remember? There were two checks. There were two checks that they wrote. One was $42,851.91, and the other was $25,520.88. I'm not sure which one of those they sent back.
They sent us both, I'm still holding one.
Do you know which one was?
And I don't remember which.
Cash 42.
The 42 is good.
Okay,
42 is cash.
so we'll have to reissue it.
And then with that amount, could we do what you think we still owe, that you said you found some penalties of interest from prior years you just sent? You just said you found something yesterday.
Oh, so those should be paid. I believe those are paid.
Those are paid, okay.
Yes. Now, an 843 request for abatement of penalties and interest, we can do an updated one of those for those penalties. There's no guarantee that the IRS is going to say okay to it, but we can earn a shot.
And what would that do? That would just, what does that form do?
So that would abate, would basically take away those penalties for the city if they ever.
The whole $127,000?
I don't think that they'll waive the interest.
Maybe the penalties.
Maybe the penalties, we're trying for everything we get. I don't have those
I
numbers.
appreciate you trying, because that's a lot of money to waste.
If the abate penalties is just interest.
Mhm. So they'll be
Because
offset with
penalties
that.
draw interest also, but with this many quarters, it's gonna be a very slim chance.
Could we get that?
But
It's slim. I've seen very easy cases that should have been very good. At least initially.
Could we get that check sent by the next council meeting? We have to vote on it, correct?
Since it was approved before,
Do you
and it
have
was
to?
do I need to get it reapproved, or can I just reissue that check?
Like we reissued, it's approved, yeah.
We got proof that we did that in mails.
So we can actually make that payment through EFTPS and make that basically tomorrow.
That would be fantastic, if we don't have to approve it.
I can get with Stephanie, get that taken care of, and make sure she deposits to the appropriate quarter.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the water and sewer financials. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second? Second by Mark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, and those were approved. Next item is the June Fire Department report.
The only thing I have to update is that the arches in front of the station have been repaired, completely, and I emailed the attorney on that. And then AWK Electric was out there last week, looked at all the electrical issues, and they got spots ordered and gonna fix their issues. It's not all I know on the building so far. By next month, I'm gonna look at selling one of our engines, the oil springs, the 2004 Pierce. There's the 93, and so since we got that county engine last year, we really don't need it, we still have a reserve engine here, and we still kind of have a spring, so it's still an engine, we'll sell it there for probably around 20,000. So I'm gonna ask the council to see if they can get it. As soon as I get there, so.
Thank you. Next item is the police report.
Just like him, I don't have much to add. You've got our numbers in front of you. One thing I do have to add is, one of our officers, his last day was today. He's moving, to Dallas, and, we wish him the best. And, we've already, from the last batch that we interviewed, about 3 or 4 or 5 months ago, we've already got one person selected, and he's gonna start on Thursday. So, we won't be down long. He's already certified, he's up to speed. It won't be anything. We're very thankful, for him, because he's very knowledgeable on the software systems that we use, because he worked in Benton County before, and, we use the same system. So, we need a little training to get him up to speed, other than just the lay of the land. We know how great our city is, just clear cut, straight lines for our city limits. But other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. Next item is the planning commission report.
Good evening. Planning Commission met last Monday. It was a work session, we did a special call meeting at the beginning of it. This was for the Foxwood Estates design development plan. This was the subdivision that's been underway, working on that on the board plan for a number of months. They were very close in the previous meeting, had a few outstanding items that were on their engineering review, and just felt like they needed to address a few more of those. So they asked for a special call meeting at the work session, and planning commission on that, and conditionally approved that with a few outstanding comments that they still have left to be addressed. So really, yes.
So with that, we have multiple signers in our city to make sure all those conditional approvals are looked at by the public works view and the engineers.
Yes. Yeah, it's conditionally approved from the planning commission standpoint. They know what the items are that are outstanding. They'll resubmit, it'll come back to the city, it'll go to engineering, they'll look at it before anything is actually approved for them to start building. They don't even have like a grading plan, or a grading permit yet. You know, we still have to go through, pre-construction meeting is what we call it, and what they'll get issued a grading permit. A lot of these things still have like Department of Health approval for like water and sewer stuff. A lot of times we'll issue a grading permit that does not include utilities. It'll just be for them to go out and start doing demolition, including dirt, things like that. So there's still months of process essentially before they probably even are issued that full approval. No, this is across the street behind the church.
Oh, this is the church.
The turkey, yes.
Perfect, okay, thank you for that, I was confused. Thank you.
We had the proposed lot split on Brown Road for Best Bid. This was something that came to the planning commission earlier in the year. They were proposing to split 2 additional parcels off of the existing 5-acre tract. They went back, reworked on some stuff. They've got it now where we want to split 1 parcel off potentially now, so that has come back to the planning commission. Then we had rezoning for the Best Bid property because of the parcel on the lane and not being 5 acres, they had to rezone it. So potentially, we're looking at rezoning from before y'all. It would just be going from 5-acre ag property, taking that property and zoning it to like a single family residence, like R1 or something like that, where they're allowed to have, where they have an appropriate size pieces of land based on it's not ag. We had a rezoning for Mortensen Trust. This is the property on the north side of town. It butts 112 north of Haxton. So there's Haxton and the stoplight, and then there's a parcel that we had rezoned previously a couple of years ago from a park short and some of that. So they were wanting to do a PCD. It will include some commercial on the highway and then residential single-family home subdivision line. So they're just looking at the PCD process. It's something that we'll potentially see, but with PCDs usually it takes a month or two to work through things, really kind of fine-tune it for what they're wanting to do. We got a PCD update for the Trillium property west of town. They have proposed amendment to the PCD document that would allow for some single-family attached in the garden park areas of that subdivision. And it would add some zoning that would allow for those in those areas. And we have a site development plan that is, it says ESCH property, that is also south of Paxton, north of town. This is the song, is what it is. They came through rezone that property 2 years ago at this point, but it is rezoning. They have a site development plan. Worked through that with them. They actually got a new engineering company. They changed the layout of the lot and they have resubmitted. So looking forward to that moving. It's been something that we've been trying to keep track of. Like, hey, you heard about this? Like, I haven't seen anything from them. And they finally kind of got all of us early and resubmitted. So looking forward to that. And then we had a general discussion with Garber on our zoning code update and how we're going to take the zoning code and the subdivision code and put them in what we call a unified development code, essentially one code. It can be a better resource for people, residents, developers, whomever might need, even staff, to go in and you have everything essentially built into one codified document. So we've been working on that, and we had a discussion with the planning commission as far as, how it's going to lay out, what it looks like, and just some general updates. The only other item is the action item that y'all potentially have tonight for the rezoning for the apartment property. We talked about that before, I think everyone's very familiar with that, so unless y'all have any questions, that is all that.
Just a reminder, how big is that property you're zoning
The
on?
apartment property,
Yeah, that last one is fairly small.
it's 25.3, 25.6, yeah, it's a half acre, and they're just rezoning it to R3 single family residential.
0.53. Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the water and sewer department.
Hello. So I'll start with the staffing report. Street department, fully staffed. We're still down one person in water and sewer since we transferred that guy over to the municipal work part-time admin position. last month, so down 44%. The actual gallons lost ticked up a little bit, but as you all know at this point, this is a cyclical game that we play with this water loss. The fixed leaks can cause either new leaks or existing leaks to leak more. The good news is we have a solid list of active leaks. Arkansas Rural Water Association was out here for the longest that they have been since I've been in the city. They're out here for I think 6 days, leak detecting around the city. And they were able to hit all of the subdivisions that we did not internally. So since March of 2026, we've hit every subdivision in the city. And I think we have 4 streets remaining that we have not listened to. 2 of those being the highway. And with how sensitive our ground microphone is to noises, it's really hard to detect during the day on a highway. I mean, if I have my truck idling 100 feet away, I can't hear the service line, so it's almost impossible. So that's something that we would have to do at night, and with how busy we've been during the day, we just haven't gotten to that yet. So that said, Arwell found 31 leaks. We have fixed 8 of those, and we still have, right now, at least 1 leak a week surfacing. So we're just continuously adding to that list and chipping away at it as we can. So, any questions for me?
17 yesterday. That's the most I've ever seen.
Yes. Part of that is because RDOT is buying up land and demoing houses. And so we go out there and disconnect the customer side line from our setter, so when they go to demo a house, they don't rip our line out of the ground. So that's part of that. And then I believe that just when a homeowner sells their house and another homeowner buys the house, that's classified as a disconnect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your MS4 guy, how's staying pretty busy?
Yes, very busy.
How many, can I ask how many violations you've found since taking the new position, what, last month?
Yeah, MS4 violations he's found, well, if you want to group an entire subdivision into one, he's found 2. But individual MS4 violations has been a lot.
Quite busy.
Yeah, and he's inspecting a lot of the development. So he's pretty much fully booked most days.
Nice call, bringing that position in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Next item on the agenda is the engineer's report.
And a couple follow-ups on the water and sewer. Public hearing for the water service area expansion was held on June 25th. I anticipate probably right before the next meeting, we'll hear back from the NRD on the outcome of that. The pressure monitoring was completed as a supplement to the water master plan that's been completed, and we provided that report to Will as well. Yesterday evening, we talked about a water line extension on Roberts Road to connect the scissor tail, basically that area of town, into Cave Springs. If you remember when that agreement was executed, we had 5 years to get the water to that area, so we're starting that discussion now as well. And then lastly, we've talked about some grant availability out there under Act 812. Trying to identify what projects would be good to go after those monies. Now, the amount of money is $25 million a year for 3 years, which it sounds like a lot, but it's not a lot of money when you're looking at capital infrastructure to be spread out over the entirety of the state of Arkansas. But what we do know is if we don't ask for it, we won't get it. So we will be putting our name in the hat for some of that. Our signal line has been functioning, as you know. They finally installed the bottom tether here a couple of weeks ago on the signal. They've got a couple of cleanup items to do, and that project will be administratively closed at that point. And then lastly, stormwater unit, we've all met, Justin, Will, and the mayor, and we've kind of gone through some of the recommendations on integrating into code and continuing those discussions, and we'll have some more detailed reports coming up on what changes have been made. But what it looks like, a lot of it we'll be able to do on an administrative basis and cover a lot of those bases.
I did have a question. Could you please, remind everyone that last scissor tail connection, the city did not pay for that whole way. It was cost shared. Could you kind of go over that, right, with the trillion?
Or the sewer line, I believe is what you refer to.
On the
Yes,
sewer
the
line,
sewer.
the
Yes.
sewer line, that will be the case, but for the water line, we started that planning back with the bond issue, sales tax and bond issue, that way that first phase of that, and then we extended that further.
That, but could you remind about the sewer? I'm sorry. I forgot to-
Yes, on the sewer, right now, we do not have any sewer in the area. What we call the NACA line, it's got the lift station here on the south side of town, that gathers all of the sewer, pumps it by force main up north to 264, and then west along 264, where it turns gravity, and then gravity flows, ultimately gravity flows all the way into Bentonville line into NACA. That has opened up that entire area north of 264, and that is where the other developments that are looking will be tying in, and we'll be working with them to expand those services to carry that all the way to that Rogers area for that scissor tail area to meet the requirement of us having sewer and that connection within 10 years of signing that agreement.
That the city is not fronting the whole thing.
That is correct.
That's what
Yes,
it's,
yes.
because we are helping, we are paying for basically the upgrades, correct?
That's correct.
So that it could be a bigger line
Yes.
and working with the developer. All right, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Any questions?
Thank you. Attorney's report.
Good evening. I'm gonna piggyback off of something Erica said and then Daniel a little bit. Since you all have approved the MS4 position, I've had a number of calls and emails with him and with Will, talking about issues and questions, and it's a good thing. It kind of finds the the pain points and the areas where we need to have some more attention. Like Daniel mentioned earlier today, we had a drainage meeting, and Kyle was there as well as Will and Mayor Daniel and I. We were talking about some specific drainage issues that had come up, but more specifically about some possible legislation to come forward that could be pretty soon. You all have, over the last couple of years, we've updated development regulations. We've obviously, 3-4 years ago or so, put in karst regulations. You've updated the drainage manual. Those apply. Of course, karst applies for a certain area. The drainage manual applies to your large-scale developments and to your subdivisions that are going in. We started taking a closer look at our stormwater regulations. We have stormwater regulations. They date back to 2007. They need a refresh to kind of cover those situations that aren't necessarily appropriate plat or large scale or a larger grading for grading permits. Those require some kind of acreage for this kind of permit. So we're looking at those stormwater regulations. Also looking at maybe some changes to building permit regulations and certificate of occupancy, some codes that relate to both of those issues, based on some things that we learned. And all this is code, which is pretty old. We're talking building permit code. We changed the building permit fees over the years, updated those, but really not the code, so that deserves a look. So those are some that I think are pretty safe and say are coming forward pretty soon, and with the possibility of having a drainage committee later on in your agenda. I think those are items that can be explored in some detail that's been focus of a lot of the last few months, so I just want to give you a heads up on that that's coming forward. Mayor, was there something else? Maybe one thing that's ripped off on that. Okay, well, are there any questions? I think, to Jordan mentioned, work at the fire station, those are subs that are coming in and fixing those items, that were attributable to them, and that's been the masonry, and also the electrical, and that seems to be going pretty well, but other than that, I don't have any other.
I have one question, with the building, upgrade to the building permit codes, would that affect people that currently have building permits, or are they preceded under the old code, and then the new building permits, this kind of building permits going on?
So that is an excellent and incredibly difficult question to address, and let me tell you why. And I deal with this with some other context. If you have a building permit, so there are some people that will, sometimes you'll hear in Little Rock right now, there's a lot going on, like data centers and billboards and things of that nature. And there's been talk about like applying new regulations, or that new regulations apply to people or entities that have received a permit. So in other words, because they got a permit, are you immune from a later application of regulation? So that's going to use quite a bit. There's case law in Arkansas where that has been the issue. And essentially, like, for example, there's a case on Arkadelphia, there was a huge tornado in Arkadelphia in 1980, and the city canceled all building permits that had not been acted on, basically, and applied a much more rigorous building code that would help withstand tornadic events. And there was a lawsuit on that, and of course, the Supreme Court said the city could do that because it was exercising its health, safety, welfare powers and its powers to protect people. However, on the flip side of that, if you have somebody who's been issued a permit and they start taking action on the permit, they start grading, they start building, there's a question of does that action vest a property right to that permit? And if you change or take away that permit, are you taking away a property right? In other words, is that taking? There's a gray area between those two things, and it can be a little bit difficult to navigate. In general, about the way that we approach it is, if it's a serious matter, if it's a tornado, if it's a health, safety, welfare, it's something that's going to protect people, that obviously leads greater importance to, maybe applying a more stricter regulation and permits around it. If somebody has, on the other hand, has already started building the permit, and if they started moving dirt, digging, all that sort of stuff, typically they're treated as under the old regime. But it's a tricky question, and you make those changes, you almost have to look at it on a case-by-case basis. So it's a challenging issue.
Well, if someone has a building permit, sits on it, and doesn't do anything, and then the buildings come in, and they have to do a crown, and you said, I don't think it's fair to do.
Yeah.
To make them fall under their car and start building, but my question is basically, if you have a building permit, they're not actively, building.
I've had situations dealing with codes that were rather old, and they didn't have any expiration on the building permits. So you have people who were sitting there for quite some time. If new code came in and said, no, if you don't build within 6 months or 1 year or whatever, then you got to come back in and reapply. And I feel that is justified in the law to do that. Or if you're layering new regulation on there, it's important that you do it in that instance too. But it does have to be case by case. You almost have to look at the permits and see where they are. So it's a little tricky.
Thank you.
Any questions for me?
Thank you. Next item is clerk treasurer's report. All right, and then mayor's report, and I just want to say briefly that things are exciting right now with some of the development that's coming next item is public comments. Anyone with comments? Please give your name and where you're from and go ahead.
Yeah. I'm Diane Shreve. I live in Lowell, but we're caretakers of the Pattishall Cemetery here on 112. We are part of that County Preservation Group. We're hoping we can get the city to start thinking about deeding the property to us. It's approximately 50 feet by 50 feet. It's been exciting. We've got a gentleman in the area who's actually helping us put all brand new cemetery signs. They're not huge, but they will be permanent signs. And that's coming soon. Pattishall, because we have working on it, is going to be the second cemetery in Benton County that's going to get one of these new signs. So we're hoping we can get some movement in that direction. We know it'll take a while, but we're trying to preserve. It's a small cemetery. There's only like 6 or 7 grave sites there with footstones. So that's it.
Thank you. And Justin, I was unaware that we actually own that. I know the highway department's going around it, but I have never seen on the county BIS or anything that it was ours to do.
Can you tell me the name of the cemetery out there?
Yeah, it's Pattishall.
Pattishall, it's down in front of the,
Over by the business buildings.
yeah, down in front of Paycom.
Okay.
It's a small family cemetery.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that either, but I'll have to look at that.
I think that's something we can work on if we find that we do on it, but that's the first I've heard that we had it to be.
Yeah. We're just hoping to preserve some of these family ones or smaller ones that are being orphaned and make sure they stay sacred.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, and fellow residents of Big Springs. My name is Melissa Nelson, and I am here tonight regarding the ongoing drainage issues and erosion concerns affecting our property, and to request transparency regarding the permitting processes for the redevelopment adjacent to my home. First, I want to thank the mayor, Mr. Barnes, for coming to my property yesterday morning to see the situation firsthand. I appreciate you both taking the time to observe the conditions. During your visit, you saw exactly what I've been trying to communicate since the first emails started on July 17th. When Kyle Will actually came out to my home and looked at it. They observed now the neighboring property grading directs water towards our property. Even though only lawn sprinklers had been running, the ground was already saturated. If the soil is that saturated from sprinklers alone, it raises a legitimate concern about what will happen during the Smithfield running off. This is not an isolated issue. Over the years, my husband and I have experienced repeated flooding concerns and erosion as surrounding development has changed the natural flow of stormwater. We have already lost portions of our backyard, and we do not want to see additional damage occur because stormwater was not properly managed. The primary issue I want to emphasize tonight is MS4 compliance. Our property is located within an MS4 regulated area where federal and state stormwater regulations exist to protect neighboring properties and our waterways. These requirements are intended to ensure that development does not increase flooding, erosion, or stormwater impacts to surrounding property owners. Since July 17th, I have repeatedly requested public records so I can better understand whether all applicable requirements were followed to date. I have not received the complete documentation I have requested. Therefore, tonight I am formally requesting, under the Arkansas Freedom of Information Act, copies of all public records related to this project, including the complete building permit application and approval, the site plan approved by the city, any grading permits and grading plans, any engineered drainage or stormwater plans, all MS4 documentation, reviews, permits, approvals, inspections, waivers, or determination, any stormwater pollution prevention plan, any erosion and sediment control plans, any flood plan determination or documentation showing whether the property is or not located within a regulated floodplain. If a floodplain review was required, copies of the floodplain development permit, elevation certificate, floodplain analysis, and all related approvals. Engineering reports, drainage calculations, or hydrology studies prepared for this project. Inspection reports conducted throughout the construction, final inspections or certificates of completion related to grading, drainage, and stormwater. The dates every permit or approval was requested and approved. The names and titles of every city employee, engineer, consultant, contractor, or official who reviewed, recommended, or approved each permit or inspection. Any correspondence between the city, the developer, the builder, engineers, contractors, or outside agencies regarding drainage, grading, erosion control, stormwater management, MS4 compliance, or floodplain compliance. I'm not standing here tonight to assign blame. I'm standing here because transparency matters. Residents deserve to know that developments are reviewed properly, that required permits are obtained, and that regulations designed to protect neighboring properties are being followed. If everything was done correctly, the public records should demonstrate that clearly. If something was overlooked, then the city has every opportunity to correct it, and it is also their responsibility to correct it before any additional damage occurs. I respectfully ask that my Arkansas Freedom of Information Act request be fulfilled promptly and completely, and that the council ensures all applicable MS4 stormwater drainage and floodplain requirements have been fully addressed. Hold on a second. I appreciate your time and your attention and your commitment to serving residents of Cave Springs. Thank you.
Anyone else? Next is, which we've done a drainage report now, so they're the engineers, so we will go to our previous business.
I have a question about drainage. Where are we on the memo for, Fairway Valley?
I do not have that ready yet, but I do have it ready for the, work session. So I'll make note of that, have that for the work session.
Okay, and then Mayor, with that information, the council doesn't know things unless we're told by the public, but also a FOIA request. Mayor, can you touch base with, Ms. Nelson about that?
Yeah,
I
we'll be
believe
doing
it has
that.
to be in writing, correct?
It has to be a writing or something that exists, and that's not a problem. Most of what she listed, we will be able to get records from.
And then when it comes to building and things like that, we have to rely on the experts. We're not engineers on the council or MS4. I don't know violation unless I'm told there's an MS4 violation. So, council only knows what we're told, but I'm glad that Mr. Mayor and Daniel, you went out to look at the property, and then you'll touch base and give her what she needs. Thank you. And then can we get a follow-up on what you guys find out from that with the drainage in the next council meeting report? Thank you.
May I make one more request? So with the email chains that I've already started with, the city council, mayor, the city attorney, and, Mr. Barnes, all of y'all are on the same email, so if we can please keep all those emails on the same one, y'all starting chains, because I want everything to be on record.
Ma'am, I've never received an email from you unless you said it before the meeting.
There should be an email that comes to all city council members.
I'm telling you, I did not receive an email.
Okay, I'll get with you after the meeting, and I'll be sure.
But then also, if your issue is ever a voting issue, we can't be all on the same email, because I can't know his response, he can't know my response, because if it's ever comes down to.
I was gonna jump in there, so that the council doesn't solve individual property issues. This is something that has been reported to, Public Works. There's been multiple meetings, site visits, on it. It's being addressed, and we'll ask for, Ms. council doesn't solve those type of issues.
Perfect. Thank you.
But the city administration has folks who execute the ordinances, and that is something that, is actively being worked on and taken very seriously, so.
And then you can just keep us updated with your drainage report and how that property stands. Perfect, thank you.
Next item is the ordinance to amend section, the non-operating vehicle code. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading by title only?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second? Second by, Chris. Roll call.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes. Okay, that was approved.
You got ordinance 20?
ordinance 2026-11.
I don't remember, that's what I'll look at next.
I've got it out of the resolution, or the ordinance will be near the back.
Okay. So it's number 11?
Yes, sir. Number 11. Thank you.
Okay. Ordinance number 2026-11, City of Case Springs, Dade County, Arkansas. Ordinance to amend sections 90.15 non-operating vehicles of Case Springs Municipal Code, declaring an emergency for other purposes.
Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve. Got a motion by Mike, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mark, any discussion?
Yes, basically, what I was understanding by your, Justin, this is pretty much what was already in, our, building code, what was this in before? You said there was in two different places, so this is pretty much the same thing, with minor changes.
That's correct. So this is the nuisance code, and, the changes that you have before you are the ones that were, in the work session packet. But you are right, in the course of all this, as we were looking through there, the zoning code had, a section on parking as well for vehicles on city streets. And, my, suggestion talking to several of you was like, I don't think it needs to be two places. However, to amend the zoning code, we have to take that through planning commission. And, the planning commission has to hold a public hearing when it comes here. So, next step, once you approve this, is to take out that little part in the zoning code about parking. This will be happening in one area, not two. So that'll be probably the next meeting, or whatever I can get it on the planning commission schedule with it.
And they're currently working on the zoning board code and nearing the end of that process, so it may be just cleaner to do it.
It probably would be easier because I would save on cost.
And then Chief, if this is exactly the same as Chief was talking about at work session, correct?
Yes, with the exception that, you and I talked about, the issue of somebody who's avoiding the regulation by parking overnight repeatedly, but not achieving that, 24-hour limit. So that part was added in there, and other than that, it was,
So basically, you can't pull in, park a trailer, leave the next day, come back, and still have that, be that same nuisance.
if you're doing that repeatedly, yeah.
Okay, perfect,
The
thank
same
you.
thing would apply if you're just doing a trailer on the street, every day.
Without a building permit.
That's right.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Erica,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
That was approved. Do I hear a motion to approve the emergency clause?
So moved.
A motion by Erica, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mark, roll call.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Next item is a resolution authorizing, mayor to execute a utility group location agreement with Arkansas Department
in February, I would vote yes, but I'm just.
I'm sorry, I didn't even have Mark's question, I'm sorry. You want to address Mark, then I've got something more fast too.
Okay.
Is that everything from downtown all the way to?
That, this is one job number, so it's only the
I
north
noticed
end.
the job.
I understand.
Well, that's more than.
Yeah, it's the northern spot area near you.
Yeah, that's what's curious. Thank you.
What's the resolution number?
Mayor, you just confirm, he announced the votes, that, you know what, he announced the, who voted for it.
Okay, it was 4-0, that's approved. What's the resolution number?
2026-20.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution to amend the 2026 budget to provide compensation for assigned treasurer duties. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by Mike, do I hear a second?
Second.
Was that Chris? Got a motion or a second by Chris? Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, like sign, and there is none, because that was 4-0. Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute work order number 18 for water storage tank with our engineering company. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second?
One second.
Second by Mark, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did you vote? Aye. Okay, then that's a 4-0 approval. Okay, next item on the agenda, a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute a contract with Northwest Arkansas Steel Coating and Striping to put asphalt edges on Brown Road to widen it. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Got a motion by Mark, do I hear a second? Second. Second by Chris, any discussion?
Is this for the, how much of Brown Road?
The maps on the back of it,
Oh, there it is.
and it's just going up to the area that's already widened with the
And it shouldn't say loose. Again, that's why I'm saying. So this is the one.
yeah, it goes up. It's the whole loop there, that's, and it goes up to the Wilmington subdivision, down to the road. So, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign, and that was 4-0. Next item is a resolution to set forth approved signers for certain city bank accounts for the city of Cave Springs. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Got a motion by Mark, do I hear a second? Second by Mike, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, like sign, and that passed 4-0. Next item is a resolution to ratify and approve the payment of back local police and fire retirement system block fee payments. And Justin's going to address this briefly.
Sure. Council, this issue concerns situation when you have a uniform employee retirement through lobby. And through the lobby system, when you retire, used to be when you retired from lobby, you couldn't retire. Those rules have changed. to receive benefits from the additional years that they work past their retirement. But the city still has an obligation to pay in those benefits into Lockheed, if that makes sense. So in other words, if you have an employee who retires from Lockheed, and then comes back and works for the city in uniform capacity, then the city still makes Lockheed payments, even though that employee is not drawing Lockheed benefit from that additional time work past retirement. So we had recently came to light, I was made aware of a situation where we had several employees who had retired from the Lockheed system and have come back to work the city. One of them, this occurred at the end of 2024, when they came back into to work for the city. They were not set up in our city software with re-enrollment into Lockheed. So from 2024 until quite recently, there were no Lockheed contributions that were going to that we paid by the city of Lockheed. We've had that same scenario happen again with an employee who also had retired from Lockheed, who was being hired by the city. That occurred around April this year, so it's several months ago. When that employee was set up, it was knowing that the previous, this had happened before, they looked back at how the employee was entered into the system in 2024 and just copied that over. After a couple months, that was questioned whether that was the right thing, and Lockheed was called and was asked whether that was set up correctly, and the city was informed no, it was not set up correctly. So those two employees, and actually I think there were some others as well, have been set up properly in Lockheed. However, the city has to make back payments for those times in which the payment was not made. So this applies to two employees. One of those back payments goes back to the end of 2024. The other one goes back to April. And along with that, there were penalties and interest that also apply that accrue daily. So the payment was made because of that daily accrual just recently. But since this concerns Lockheed payments plus penalties and interest from previous year's budgets, this need to come to you all for ratification. So that's why this is here. The resolution kind of details what those payments were, including the back payments and the penalties and interest. And if you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to try to answer.
So the penalties and interest are greater than the back payments?
In the case of the April employee, I don't think so, because the penalties and interest were fairly small. For the employee who was hired back at the end of 2024, the penalties and interest were rather significant. I have those. Should have those in front. Let me see if I can find it real fast.
Just gets worse.
So the first employee was $26,650 was the total penalties and interest for the penalty after the employee goes back to 2024, the year 2024. $26,650. For the April employee, it was $3,900. So those have been set up, as well as the others. There was no penalties and interest with the was made, so it's been caught up, but, also, anytime you have a situation like this, like we did with the back taxes, we notified, the auditors, and made them aware of the issue that was done just the other day.
What a year.
So you self-reported to the state, is that correct?
That's correct.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
So,
Got a motion by Mark, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mike. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, that was 4-0. That's item 2026-25. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to rezone approximately 0.53 acres. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading by title only?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. Roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2026-12. City of Case Springs, Benton County, Arkansas, an ordinance to rezone approximately 0.53 acres plus or minus of real property located at 550 North Main Street from general agricultural A1 to single-family residential R3 in the city of Case Springs, Arkansas.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mike, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Erica. Any discussion?
Gotta love these property restrictions. Convincing that the final railroad spot.
Roll call.
Mike,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, that was approved. Next item is an ordinance creating a stormwater and drainage committee. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second? Second. Second by Chris. Any roll call?
Erica,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Ordinance number 2026-13, City of Case Springs, Benton County, Arkansas, ordinance creating a stormwater and drainage committee to provide advice and recommendations to the city council to declare an emergency and describe the other matters related thereto.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
A motion by Mark, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Erica. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mark,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Erica.
Yes.
That passed 4-0. And did I hear a motion to approve the emergency clause?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mark, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. Roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Okay, that did pass. Is there any comments from the council, or do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, got a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Eric, motion by Mike, all in favor say aye.